All right, so I'm Eric, and this is WordPressScan. And if you don't know, WordPress is a big blogging software. It's also used for creating sites, and it's really easy to use. So a lot of people who don't know any web development use this tool. Use this software. And what I have here is WordPressScan, and it comes installed with Backtrack 5. You probably need to update it a little bit, but if you don't have Backtrack, you can just download it at WPScan.org. So say I want to get into a WordPress site. What WPScan does is it brute forces passwords, and it's a very it's a harsh way to get in because you're just basically guessing passwords until you find the right one. But it's also effective, and it's probably one of the oldest methods of hacking. So this is the WordPress installation that I have right now, and you can see it's the latest version, and there's so it's all the way updated, and it's like a fresh install. So I have WordPressScan right here. It's in Pentest Web, WPScan on Backtrack, and I'm just gonna show you how we can get admin access. So the first thing you need to do is find the username for the admin account, and the easiest way to do this is just to go on the blog, and if you look on the blog, there's usually an author section, and it says the author right here is admin, so we're just gonna guess that that's the admin account. And it's usually pretty common to find these. And if you also don't know, you can also go up here, and you can just type in !author = 1, and usually the first user is probably an administrator. So with that in mind, we can just use the WordPressScan to send a query to basically to brute force the passwords. So I've downloaded a password list, which is just like a text file or a list file with passwords in it that it'll try to use to guess. And I used a small list, a fairly small list, so it wouldn't take forever. So I'm just going to run. So it's a Ruby file, and I'm going to type in the URL. And this threads parameter is basically how many concurrent threads you want to run to try to crack this password. Is admin, the username is admin, and the list I will use is just called list.txt. So now it's starting to brute force the admin account, and it's pretty fast. This is 500 passwords, so it's doing 10% in about 3 seconds. And so it was done, and you can see it's username admin, password admin, and I'll just show you right now by logging in real quick. And there you go. So you can use this. There's some limitations. Yeah. Yeah, this is for anything, any place with a WordPress installation. So it's there's some limitations to this, especially if the web host has something to block queries, to block 1,000 queries per second. But you can always run this slower, or so most people, if they run it on their a home network, they probably won't have these protections. Do you have a question? Any questions? Yes.
Does it do anything besides brute force passwords?
Not really. It can enumerate accounts. It can also search for plugins, but I guess that's a little bit helpful because you can find plugins that are known to have exploits in them. But I think the main purpose of this is to brute force. All right, so thanks. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Is use of this tool very evident to administrators of the WordPress site?
Not the administrators, I'd say, but the people who actually run the web hosting service. So if you're using a shared service, it's very likely that if you get your hosting off GoDaddy, right? There's probably 100 other sites on the same server as your site, and GoDaddy would have some anti-DDoS protection, and this kind of looks like a DDoS since it's basically sending 50 requests every 3 seconds. Well, you can change that, but that's what I was doing. So.
When I went .com, WordPress.com, they host their
Oh
own.
yeah. I would assume they have some sort of protection against this. I haven't tried, but once again, if you do it really slowly, if you do one thread at a time, it'll take a really long time, but you can probably get away with it.
Keeping in mind that you shouldn't do that.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Yes. Yeah, go ahead. I guess it happens too often, maybe. Sometimes because like WP admin is the directory for the administrators, and like I think everyone knows that, and no one bothers to change it. And there's just gonna be like random people trying, and like I don't know. Yeah. Yes.
Where does the list of passwords come from?
You can download these. So I downloaded mine off. I have it open right here. So basically, there's like this is a website that just hosts a lot of password lists. But if you go on the Pirate Bay, there's like tons and tons of like password lists. And I remember like the largest one I saw was like 20 TB. So it's like almost every password that you can imagine would be in that list. But of course, it takes much longer to go through that list than what I have right now, which was about 500 passwords.
So these are just
These are literally, yeah, these are like text files, and they have a word on each line. And each of those, every time it tries a password, it just takes that line and it puts it in, and it just keeps trying them. Yes.
What would you do to defend against this?
I just literally turn on anti-DDoS protection, like something like that wouldn't allow a user to like query 50 times, like really fast.
What about account lockouts?
I guess you could do that, but like once again, like if you just block querying, like
Unless they're moving on an IP.
One thing that you commonly do for stuff like this is you just put a delay, no matter whether it's
Yeah.
a direct plugin or a
Yeah.
direct plugin, you can put a 10-second delay in there,
Yeah.
no problem. And no matter how many threads you're running, you're going very slow.
yeah, because like
There's also the fact that it took him like 20 seconds to get the fact that it was admin as the password.
Yeah.
well, no, that was the word list though,
So
but like
if you're only making like 50 to 100 requests a second, you can do this in full blast.
yeah,
And
it's
you
gonna take a
use
while.
really strong passwords, you just never get this.
Yeah. For like noobs.
Unless you somehow like got password hashes out of the site or something. That's when you can actually test.
Anything else? All right. Oh yes, go ahead. You mean WordPress scan? The tool itself? It's a Ruby script, so I'm assuming. You could run it with Windows, but you need to install like a few, and something else because it uses other add-ons as well. But you should install like a little. If you go on WPScan.org, it'll show you. And I'm pretty sure you can use it on Windows, but like you just have to tweak the script a little bit. But you can also run this like off VirtualBox, like what I'm doing right now.
Best practices wise, it would be best to get Backtrack if you know
Yeah.
regardless. You shouldn't be, especially when you're dealing with security stuff like this, putting it in your own virtual machine so that if something gets directed to your virtual machine instead of your host OS.
All right. Thank you.
All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get started with my portion of this demonstration. This room is sort of positioned awkwardly, so I apologize if I have to come walk back and forth from time to time. But before I go ahead and dive in, seeing as this is a new semester, I just wanted to quickly go over some stuff that was addressed quite a bit last semester, but for those of you that are new faces, it's really important that you hear. The stuff that we demonstrate here and the stuff that we do is for the purpose of knowledge. There's a lot of ways that you can take these skills and go into the industry and do completely legal things that are all really fun to do. I mean, you can literally get a license to break into a corporate network, and that will be your job. and it is illegal to do so. However, if you do not have explicit approval to gain access to a computer system, that is a felony. A felony is not a joke, and a felony is not something we support here. And if you're here because you want to learn how to do this so that you can be malicious and so that you can steal things and break into things that you're not supposed to, we will find you out, we will report you to the dean, and we will make sure that you no longer attend our meetings. Don't do it. Don't let us catch you. Don't even think about it. If that's the sort of thing that you want to do, you shouldn't even be here. It's too dangerous. That being said, one of the questions that I hear most commonly from people that come in, it's their first time, is, how do I get into something like this? So what I'm about to demonstrate is basically how you can, on your own home machine, put up two different machines, two different virtual machines, have them talk to each other, and actually break something that way. There's tons of images of vulnerable web servers, all sorts of different, network applications, I guess I would call them. All sorts of stuff that you can freely get your hands on and put it on your own machine, and you can just go to town on it. And that's what you should be doing if you want to practice this stuff. I believe what this is called, it's called the Damn Vulnerable Web Application, is what I'm going to be breaking on today. And so the structure of what is about to happen is basically we're going to go at this live. I've never seen this before. I don't know what's on it. And I'm going to act like I don't know what IP address it's on either. I do sort of know the IP, though, because of Nick's help, I know the IP. Basically what I'd like to do is just sort of, we'll go step by step through this, and I'll sort of reach out to you guys so that you can sort of push me along in terms of how we take this next step, the goal of which being to get, and I don't even know if it's possible, we're going to see if it's possible, we're going to try to get a reverse shell on the server that this site resides upon. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. Hopefully that will be good enough. And I guess we'll go ahead and get started. What is a reverse shell? So does everybody know what a regular shell is? Has everybody used shell in Linux? If you have Windows and you've opened up CMD, that's basically a shell. You have command line access to the machine or to the operating system, and you're able to do stuff through it. A reverse shell is basically I will put a .exe file. Actually, I guess it's Linux, so I will put a binary file on the machine that I would like to gain access to, get it to run, and it will connect back to my machine, and I will be able to access the command line over the network. So it basically takes the shell, pipes it across the network to your machine so that you have root access to something you don't have physical access to. Hopefully root. We'll see if it's root. I have no idea what we're about to see. Seriously, I've never done this before, so this might be disastrous. Hopefully not, though. Okay, so this is all running on my little laptop. It's Core i5, and it's got 8 gigabytes of RAM. So you guys should all be able to do this. Even if you only have 4 gigabytes of RAM, you should still be able to do this. It might be a little bit slower for you. But this right here is VirtualBox that I have pulled up. Who here is not familiar with VirtualBox? Okay, so this is a virtualization platform, and you can just search Google for VirtualBox. It's really easy to download and install on a Windows host, and you just install it. This thing pops up, and then you can just get ISOs of different operating system distributions and pop them up as virtual machines. And so for all intents and purposes, this is basically like having a physical machine right here running a different operating system, but I'm just viewing it through this one, for all intents and purposes at least. So the first one I'm going to pop up is my Backtrack 5 virtual machine. And so you can completely full screen into it as well, so it actually doesn't even feel like you're running it in Windows. It's really cool. Also, if you decide to get VirtualBox and get Backtrack, please change the root password when you install it. There's nothing worse than getting caught with a default root password. by somebody that wants to gain access to your system. Okay, so y'all can see that. For the majority of you, I'm sure this is something that you've seen before. This is Backtrack 5, R3. And basically what Backtrack is it's a Linux distribution that comes packaged with a myriad of tools for security evaluation, vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, all of the above. It has more tools than you can shake a stick at if you're into old sayings. Okay, so I have this machine up. Now I'm going to pop up the the damn vulnerable web application. Okay, so here's another computer that I'm starting up. The software is free, by the way. And so this damn vulnerable web application is based off of Ubuntu, apparently. Why that would be intense, really. Okay, so we have this up and running. Yes, Tim.
Yeah, so I forget what it's called, but you have these VMs running in like bridge mode where they're getting IPs from the access point, or are you like on your own subnet?
So I'm going to defer to Nick Johnson for that answer.
So you don't want to use bridge mode. Bridge mode, what that's designed for is for the virtual machine to actually take over one of your host cards. Okay. So that's going to mess up all your networking if you don't want to do that. If you want to have
His own little network,
right. So what he has is internal. Actually, no, he has host only. So there are two ways of doing internal network stuff on VirtualBox. You can either use host only or you can use internal. The difference between those is that host only will create a virtual network part inside the host. So if you're on the hosting of a host only adapter, you have a bunch of things that are all set to host only. They'll all be on a little virtual network, a little virtual router. Then your host will also be a thing that's doing that. Instead of all internal, they'll all be together, but the host will be virtual. This is different from the standard with the NAS, where they're all able to connect out, but there's no kind of internal network.
So did that answer your question? So for the networking, I guess that's probably worth showing. I can't modify anything currently because both of the machines are up, and you can't really modify the emulated hardware. Well, either way, I'm not going to modify anything. When you set up your virtual machine, you have all these options that you can dive into. So we can just run through them real quick. So you have your system. You can give it how much memory it has access to, whether or not it has SATA or IDE devices. You can set how many cores it has access to, how high it can drive that core to, whether or not it has basically hardware implemented virtualization technology, I guess is what I would call it. And you can set up all the network stuff. So you have all of these different options for the ways to get this networked in. For the purposes of this demonstration, neither of the virtual machines needs to have access to the internet. So we just have them on their own little subnet, their own little virtual subnet. So, okay, so I'm going to go back to this damn vulnerable web application. I keep saying extremely. And so it's currently running. So let's make sure that Apache is up so that we can hit it. And it sure is. So for those of you that are new to Linux, PS will give you a process list. And I don't remember what the -e flag is. But you pipe that into something that searches for the term HTTPD. HTTPD is the process name of an Apache web server. And it turns out that we have a handful of processes that are running as it. So turns out Apache is running. I should be able to hit it. Let's go ahead and have at it. So now I'm back over my Backtrack instance. What's the first thing we need to do? We know that there's a machine that we want to hit. We know it's on the same subnet. Scan it. That's a good idea. So let's go ahead and scan and see if we can't find anything. So I'm going to open up a console. I'm going to find what my IP address is using ifconfig. Okay, and so here we have eth0. That's all of the information about the network that all the information I know about the network that I'm currently on. I have my inet address, which is my IPv4 address. I have the broadcast address for the network I'm connected to, and I have my net mask. For those of you that haven't done networking as of yet, if you have your IP address and you have your net mask, it tells you what the subnet is. Because basically, what this net mask means, 255.255.255.0, every one in each one of those octals, an octal being a value between 0 and 256 on this exclusive. Octet. Yeah, sorry, this isn't. I thought we were in chorus for a second. So what this net mask tells you is every place that you have a 1 in this 32-bit long representation means that that is part of the external network, and everything below that mask is part of your subnet. So this means that only the last octet is part of my subnet. Does that make sense? Does anybody have questions about that? Okay. So what that means is that there are 2 to the 8 possible hosts on this subnet. So I'm going to go ahead and scan this whole subnet and see if I can't find any other that are standing up currently. So I'm going to use something called Nmap. This was shown last week. And I'm going to give it a range of IPs as well. I'm going to let that run for a second. And so what this is going to do is it's going to hit every single IP address in this subnet that I'm currently on, and it's going to see if there's any services running. So there's it's going to attempt talking to 255 hosts. So it'll take just a second. And generally speaking, trying to break into something on your own subnet is probably, well, I guess if you get a pivot into an organization, it'll happen. But otherwise, people that are on your subnet are usually close in proximity. You don't really want to irritate people that are close in proximity. Okay, so there was one machine that we saw. And so this also gives us some interesting information as well. All 1,000 ports scanned on that host are filtered. So that might indicate that either there's no externally facing services running on this machine. If there are external facing services running on this machine, it's probably being performed by somebody that is actually cognizant of what they're doing. A large part of what you actually have to do in assessments like this is sort of psychological. You have to sort of put things together about who's actually managing the network, who put the network together, what's the topology like, how do they think, and see if you can see redundancy and other things that they've deployed.
So just to note, that IP is actually your virtual server.
Is it really?
Yeah, so that's why it's all.
So does it do local? Okay, that one has all 1,000. Okay, so 100 is my DHCP server, 101 is me, and then 102 looks like it has a few services running. So maybe we should hit some of those. So the ports that we see open, we have 21, 22, 80, 443, and 3306. For those of you that are familiar with commonly running Linux applications, well, just applications in general, you might recognize some of these. The one that is most glaringly obvious is this HTTP. So let's go ahead and pull down this website. So we'll pull open Firefox. Firefox, as its default setting, comes with no script enabled. I believe I have it. Basically, if you want to follow along with this sort of stuff, you have to, there we go, add-ons. You have to make sure that this no script thing is disabled. No script will keep any JavaScript from running within your browser, and as such, all of the Firebug tools, which are really nice for debugging web applications in Firefox, are thereby disabled. Yes? I could just add an exception. I'm going to go ahead and disable no script for the purposes of this demonstration. Okay, so we come back here. We look at the IP address that we want to hit. Okay, and we have a login page. I've already seen this, so my initial reaction was I should look up the username and password for this, but then I didn't because I don't know if this is supposed to be part of the actual assessment or you setting it up. Hopefully you don't have to install a bunch of stuff because that would suck. So let's go ahead and look at the source code for this page. Who here is not familiar with WebDev? Okay. So what we're going to be looking at here is the JavaScript that powers the client-side interaction for a website. So we're going to right-click. We're going to go to inspect. Oh, no, we're not going to do that, actually. We're going to click on the Firebug in the bottom right-hand corner, and we're going to go to script. No JavaScript on this page. Well, then. Hit refresh. I don't think refreshing will do anything. Reload to activate window console. Why would I reload? Okay, so maybe I'm supposed to actually brute force it. Okay. Retest the WordPress one. No, there's a get out of here. Continue trial perpetually. They have a manual that comes with this thing. Let me see if I need to log into this first. Password. Yeah, maybe I'll try admin. No. Admin password. Holy crap. Okay, well, I guess that's a really good job on that. My God, you're like a natural brute forcer. So that's a good example of how this is a damn vulnerable web application. Okay, so let's see what it says. Warning, this is damn vulnerable. Do not upload it to your hosting provider's public HTML folder. That's a really good idea. You could compromise a host and get incarcerated. Okay, so vulnerability brute force. Let's see. So does anybody know of any brute forcing tools for just trying standard login forms? Hydra. Okay, so Backtrack is packaged with Hydra? Okay, let's see if we got it. Nice. Very fast network logon cracker which supports many different services. Okay. So have you used this before, Alex? Okay. Let's see. Let's just try running it. No, that didn't work too well. This looks like it has a lot of stuff to set up. Let's go to something else. Ruby? What? Oh, that? Nah, I don't feel like writing a script up here in front of you all. Okay. So, here's SQL injection. Let's see. Does anybody have any ideas on what we should do here? Do what? A tick? Okay. Admin? Didn't do anything. Okay. Let's try, maybe we'll try an actual ID. Okay, there we go. So there's that ID. There's another ID. Okay, so apparently we can put in user IDs and pull down information about the people that actually match it. So what would we do if we wanted to maybe dump the whole table? Or 1 equals 1? Okay, so walk me through it. What do I do? What do I type in? Maybe we'll try that. And that's the comment from MySQL, right? Nope, didn't work. Anybody have any other suggestions? Do what? Closing quote? Okay, so let's see. If it's a user ID, it's a numeric entity. So if it's actually being injected into a SQL line, is it going to be quoted? Should it be? It could potentially be, but if it's a number, I'd be surprised. Let's try that though. Nope, didn't work. Huh? Don't try commenting it? Okay. But if you don't comment it, then it breaks it. Do we have a suggestion in the back? Okay, let's try that. Nope. Anybody else? So, does it encode it? Well, how could we find out? Do that? Okay. Let's try that.
That way you can complete on your there too.
So like that? Is that what you did?
No. You're trialing. Do it once.
Do that? Okay. So, let's give this a try as per Jack's recommendation. Nope.
That's one that I've used before to some success.
Okay, so, yeah. I'm sorry? Double quotes? Okay. Same thing with double quotes? Not quite. Okay, so we're just sort of guessing at this. Maybe we could use a tool. Maybe we could search for, Screwdriver. We don't have physical access. Well, we do have physical access, but we're not going to take a screwdriver to my laptop. I'm sorry. A Ruby script. I'm not too familiar with Ruby, though. We could try the XSS one instead. I'd like to get through a single one, because this is, one of the tough things about trying to teach this sort of stuff and learn this sort of stuff is like, okay, so you learn the theory, and then how do you actually apply it? It's sort of, stuff like this, it's black box testing. So how do you actually not give up when you're faced with something like this, when there could potentially be a vulnerability? There is a vulnerability. Yeah. I would imagine the same. But then, so how do you actually leverage why would a blind attack be of any use if you didn't get anything back from it? Okay. Sure. So what Alex just pointed out, with this blind SQL injection, we haven't gone to it yet, but if it's what we expect it to be, the idea is you won't actually get an output of what was selected. You might get something, you have to do something called oracle testing, which is basically this theoretical composure where you have a wall and an oracle on the other side of it, and you can only ask a very specific set of questions to it, and it can only give you a very specific set of answers. And if you can actually use something like this to garner information about the underlying application, this is called an oracle attack. So maybe an idea would be, if I want to figure out whether Jane Doe is in the database, then I somehow get it to look for Jane Doe's email, which will either give me like a, yes, that girl exists in the database, or no, she doesn't. Probably not that obvious, but if there's a change in the web page, as you are hitting it with different things, then clearly something is changing on the back end. Yes, that's also true. Okay. All right. So let's see. SQL map? SQL map. Okay. So let's see if we can figure out how SQL map works. No SQL map. Okay. DMS identification web. Holy, I actually found it. That is nuts. No. Okay, well, here it is. All right. Let's see what's in here. Okay, so that's a SQLmap.py. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so we'll do python.sqlmap.py. Should advanced help message. Okay, so you do it. At least one of these options has to be specified. So for those of you that are starting to learn these sorts of things, this is a pretty common process that you'll go through. You'll hear about some tool, and then you look at either the help that is output from the file, or you look at the manual page, which is why I tried man SQL map at first. That was I guess that's the way that was more traditional to actually distribute manuals alongside software packages in Linux. Okay, so we need to have a target and we need to have a request. These options can be used to specify how to connect to the target URL. Okay, so one of the things that I would imagine will be tricky to do here is that to even get to this page, how do we currently have access? We logged in, but who can tell me why we're still logged in? Cookie, that's the magic word. So if I'm not submitting a request from a browser that has a cookie that's currently stored for this, how am I supposed to be able to touch that page? It's all going to kick me out. Yeah, you can use a cookie. Imagine that. So let's go ahead and find the cookie. This is a good opportunity to pull out that Peros application that I was talking about last time. I could use lots of different stuff, but I'm going to use Peros. All right, here's Peros. Right, but now I get to demonstrate Peros by doing it this way. So we fired up Peros, which means that all of our, it currently has a proxy up on port 8080. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Firefox, and I'm going to tell it, instead of putting all your traffic on port 80, actually put it to port 8080. And what's going to happen is Peros is going to stand in the middle. I'm going to submit a request. It's going to have the request, and it's going to hold on to it so I can look at it and modify it before it sends it off. And this is going to go in both directions. And you'll actually see how the values from a cookie get propagated to the server. Yes? I'm sorry? Right. I believe that's how it works, yeah. I mean, that would make sense. I would imagine so. I don't know about the nitty-gritty configuration details of Peros.
It'll be sent to port 80. That doesn't mean that
it'll send out of.
Address is 80.
Yeah.
Returns is assigned randomly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether
or not traffic would be leaving this machine on port 80, correct?
Usually, well, if you're doing something like this, it's bound to localhost.
Okay.
So it's only going to listen if the IP is 127.0.0.
Right.
So if you try to connect to this from port 80 on the external, on some external interface.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's what he's asking. Sending it to? So there are, maybe somebody's running an HTTP server on a port other than 80, or you want to send it to HTTPS, which is on 443. I would imagine that, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let me actually pull that up real quick. So this is on 192.168.56.102. And your browser by default will request from port 80 because that's the default for an HTTP server to be running on. But if you're going to run HTTPS, what port does it run on? 443, right. So let's, to demonstrate how you can specify a port in a URL, let's just hop over to it. So I'll just copy this. Well, I don't know what that did, but 400 error. Bad request. Okay, because I specified HTTP on that port, maybe? Okay, there we go. So you can specify the port in the URL, which is pretty cool. And yeah, that's probably a pretty sound way to get it to go to a different destination port. Okay, so we have Paros up. We have it running as a proxy. Let's go ahead and hop into Firefox. And I'm going to go here to Preferences, and then I'm going to go to Network Connection, and then I'm going to set up a manual proxy. I'm going to give it 127.0.0.1. This is the address of my local machine. So 127.0.0.1 will always point to the machine that you are currently operating on. And I'm going to give it port 8080. That's where it currently resides. Yep. Hmm? I've done this before, and that's never been a problem. Okay, so anyways, let's. I'll go ahead and put in trap request and trap response. Let's see if it works. That didn't work. Let's see. So that didn't work. I'm pretty sure you do have to have that stuff in there. No. Manual proxy 127.0. Okay. Okay. So now, okay. So there we go. This is the intercepted HTTP request, and we see something pretty nice in there, don't we? Security equals high. I don't know what security equals high. I wonder if that's an application-specific thing. But I do see a PHP sesh ID, which, for those of you that have worked with PHP before, can you imagine what that is? It's your session ID. Yeah. Really weird naming convention with PHP. Really? Right. Okay.
That's not how it's specified. It's a flag called secure. Right? That was like a part of that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Okay, so in either case, this is the value for the cookie that is being sent. So if you've ever wondered how a site maintains a session with you, because HTTP is stateless, basically what it does is it uses this value that your browser automatically, every single time that you request one of the pages at their domain, is going to send the value in the cookie. When you authenticate with the server, it's going to have something in session state on the server that says, hey, this guy that just logged in, that's his session ID. So every single time I see a cookie that comes back with it, it's still that guy. So having never used SQL map before, let's see if we can get this to work. So I'm going to highlight this whole cookie. No security. I'm just going to do the whole thing. Let's see. And let's go ahead and not trap request to response. And so I'm going to hit continue. So remember what's happening here. There's basically this entity standing between my machine, my browser, and the other machine, and I'm intercepting requests. So I'm going to let this one continue. And it's going to go, come back, and I should have the page now pulled up. Okay, there it is. All right, so let's see. So we have to have our target. So we do -u for the URL, and we have, I don't know if we need data. Probably have to specify the cookie, and let's not do random agent. Okay, so it looks like we only have to specify cookie and URL. So let's pull up another terminal so that we maintain a reference to the manual. And what is the /pentest/database? Am I plugged in? Yes. What, battery? Yeah, I'm plugged in. Thank you guys for wondering now. Oh, wait. It's plugged in physically. Oh, God, there's... Ah, there is the difference. I got lots of albums. Oh, wow, okay, that works. Sweet, thanks, man. Daisy chaining power strips over here. Don't do that at home. Yeah, we like to live dangerously here in Grey Hat. Okay, so here's SQL map. So let's go ahead and give this a try. Let's see if we can't get this to work. So I'm going to use the Python file, make sure that that actually executes. Okay, so we're going to specify the URL. Okay, so there's the URL. So we do -u, and we'll open this, and let's go for SQL injection. And let's take this URL. Okay, so there's the user. Let's do the cookie as well. And then we go back to Paros. Did I get rid of it, actually? Son of a gun. Okay, so we can actually see. Let's see, do we have history? I don't know if we have history. You know what, let's, in the meantime, while we're doing this, I'm just going to spider this website, just so I know what else is there. Okay, and let's, and while that's running, I'm going to go ahead and put the trap back on again. Trap request, trap response. Hit F5. There is our cookie. And we'll come back over here. We will paste it as our cookie. We will paste it as our cookie. It's not doing that. What in the world? Enable session tracking cookie. Huh? Control C? Control Shift V into the terminal. Right, yeah. It's just not copying to the clipboard for some reason. I really don't feel like pasting that whole... Oh, well, now it's pasting here. Maybe I can copy it from here. Okay. So there's our cookie. Now, I've never done this before. Let's see how this works. Do you want to try URI injections in the target URI itself? What do you think? So is that a yes? We have a consensus to try this? Okay. So what is this actually doing then? Okay. $400 bad requests. Okay. Well, so that means it didn't work. For those of you that haven't seen a 400 before. The what? Do you really? Okay. Okay. Oh, so you actually have to. Okay. Okay. So we have. Let's try this. I'll step Paros out of the way. Well, so yeah, it's in the URL. So let's try this. Okay, so here's this. Let's try user ID of ASD. Okay, so it's ID and submit equals submit. Right. So ID is the parameter. So I wonder if that's the way we're supposed to do it. I don't know. Let's try it. Okay, so URI parameter number. Okay, that's okay. and we. So we'll do the same thing, and we'll pass it ID. Still not doing it. Yeah, right. It's supposed to, but we're trying to dump the whole table. So, okay. So what are you saying that is the difference, Jack?
Is it post or get?
It is gets. It's doing gets.
Because that makes a difference.
Yeah. Right. Data string to be sent through post. No, that shouldn't be it. It's URL. That's G Google Dork.
Try writing the full URL out as if your ID. Your target URL has the parameter in it.
Let's see if we can get a SQL map example of why. So they specify the method and they specify the data. That's with post. Let's try with get. Okay, so I guess it doesn't really say anything about get. Let's see, dash u dash cookie. Okay, and dash string flag. I wonder what dash dash DBS is. Okay. So it actually has that all in the parameter. Let's see. Okay. So we'll come back here. Pop this to full. We will get this. Take this whole thing. Okay, let's try that one more time. I'm going to get rid of this dash P. Okay, let's try this. All parameters appear to not be not injectable. Uh-huh. Oh. Right. Ah, interesting. Good find. All right, so let's try that again. Oh, shoot. yeah, I get it. Yes, you do it with it. Thank you. Let's save this one more time. All right. Come on, good results. Oh, still waiting on me. Let's see. ID is vulnerable. Do you want to keep testing the others? Yes.
You have one other.
Yeah, I know. Parsed errors show that the backend could be MySQL. Do you want to skip test page? Yes. Testing MySQL union query null. Injection not exploitable with null values. Do you want to try random ints for value for option? Wow, they have a lot of options with this thing. Holy crap. No. How many times do I have to say no to this? Do what? Yeah, it was in there. Yeah, that was one of the issues I was having as well. So, does anybody have any questions about what just happened? Other than the 10 minutes of like blindly wandering around, that's what I figured was probably going to happen anyways. No questions about SQL injection? What SQL injection is? How SQL injection works? How that just tested for SQL injection?
We didn't do it. It said where it happened.
But how did it actually tell that there is a SQL injection vulnerability? Well, I mean, it's pretty, yeah. Yes, it worked. That's actually telling you what the vulnerabilities are right there from an automated scanner. So what's interesting about the fact that when it was on high we didn't see anything is that automated scanning can't find everything. I don't know why. Well, I guess theoretically it should be able to for a MySQL database. Nah, I guess there's intricacies. But yeah, or all the possible points for vulnerabilities. But yes. Really? Wow. Maybe it's actually, I don't know how you would break that. Okay, so, I mean, basically, it just took a bunch of known payloads that, so what SQL injection is, real quick, is basically if you have a server-based application that you're taking user input and you're putting into a SQL query, if you're not properly cleaning that input before you put it in a query to a database, then they can do all sorts of crafty things with what they're actually doing. And they can potentially screw your database up. If you have your database poorly configured, they can potentially delete the whole thing. So that's bad news. So let's see what we actually found. Okay, so here are the different payloads. So we have Boolean-based blind, error-based, union query, and or time-based. Okay. So it actually shows you, wow, what is that? Union, all select null. And no, but we want an or, because and is only going to, huh? Above there? Keep looking up? Okay. I don't think it is, because this is all, it starts with that parameter. Okay, so why don't we go with this union query? Select. These are the only ones that it found, though. Will it work this time? Okay, let's try that. One quote. Yeah, right. This is one. Normal quote? This is the one you're talking about? Okay, thank you. Is this good? Okay. It's like this? If this actually works, SQL map sucks. No. You want to do the more info? Okay. Well, unfortunately, we don't have, this machine doesn't have internet access, but I think I have clipboard shared. Nope. Do what? It's not connected to the internet, though, unfortunately. Really? No, I didn't look at that. Again, this is the first time I've ever seen this thing, just to be clear. Okay, you know what? How about this? We're going to not do SQL injection anymore. Now, here we go. Cross-site scripting. This is an easy one. Thank you. All right. So, cross-site scripting, everybody's seen this a good bit before. Well, not everybody, sorry. We talked about this a good bit last semester. It's definitely one of the lower-hanging fruits in terms of ways to exploit servers and stuff like that. So I'm just going to type in my name. My name is going to be Iron Chef Bobby Flay. My name? Generally speaking, it does. Let's say
iframe URL equals http://meetspin.com.
No, 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 no. Okay. So that's just dropping it right in there doesn't do anything. Let's try the standard. I doubt this will work either. Okay, so that's not working. Let's go ahead and look at what this looks like. Dude, that inspect on Chrome, it does what I want it to do. Here, it's not doing anything. Okay. Yeah. I don't want that. But thank you, though. It looks good. I'm going to refresh because I don't know how to get that to go away. Okay, this is what I want. So here we have, there we go. So this is Firebug. For those of you that have not done web development before, this is basically a tool that allows you to debug web-based applications. So this is the JavaScript that's currently running on this page. Let's take a look at what it's doing. Let's see. Or better yet, why don't let's see if it's actually cleaning anything by putting our proxy back up. I know that. Let's see what it looks like in Paros. Yes, but you get the purpose for using a proxy, right? You understand the reasoning behind it? But it's to demonstrate a tool. That's the purpose of these instructional sessions, right? Oh, after alert? But the fact that it's actually being printed to the page sort of tells me that that's not quite. Well, let's see what Paros says. Okay, so what's actually being sent is this stuff right here. I doubt changing that would do anything. Yeah. So we'll just go ahead. All right, so we're not going to get it that way. Let's look at page source. Okay, so it is escaping the caret characters. So how do we get around escaping caret characters? Right. Yeah. Let's see. So if I put this back up, chat the request, we'll see if it's still doing high. Security is currently at low, so we can't go any lower. Let's just see how this drops onto the page. Okay, so that doesn't work. Use source. Okay. So it's escaping those. How can we get around this? Let's see. It looks like it's the only place. Any other suggestions? Yeah, but it's actually, it's escaping the caret. So there's other ways that you could potentially put these, you can put them in, body on load. There's other things that you can get around without throwing script tags on the page, but not being able to throw carets on the page seems like it's sort of an issue. Right. Yeah. Try no, yeah, let's try that. Yeah. Yeah. So it's by the time that it's hitting the proxy, it's currently just HTML encoded. Oh, so we can. All right. So let's look at Firebug. Okay. So we have 3 functions in here. We have a validate form. Let's see what other things we have. All right, so this is the only JavaScript on the page. This doesn't look like. Yeah, right. That's sort of what I'm thinking. Okay, so let's try putting a null byte in there. Let's see what that does. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Still submitted. Okay. What else can we do? What other HTML can we put in here? Yeah? Does nothing. Okay, so let's look at possible payloads. So we can't just, dropping an alert on the page isn't going to do anything. Yeah. Well, that doesn't help me very much. Payload generator. Oh, jeez. Right. But actual production sites also tend to be vulnerable. Yeah. Yeah. If it was as simple, inject code outside of the. Intercept it? Okay, let's see. Yeah, okay, let's see. Okay, so let's go back to Paris. So it's doing all of that. Huh? So you can see right here in my cookie, security is low. Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's supposed to be a damn vulnerable web application. So far, we haven't done anything. This is really not quite what I anticipated. All right, let's stop this. DVWA. Submit hi. Okay. We can't even, well, let's see. Still no. Yeah. Would using backslash work? Yeah, it puts it on the page at least. So clearing cookies. Okay. What? I've got HTTP 1.1. UTF-7? Yeah, I don't know where to add it either. Okay, let's try, I'll go ahead and clear the cookies and see if that helps anything. Does anybody know how to clear cookies? Yeah, clear recent history. Okay, so now if I go back to this. All right. Admin password, best thing ever. DVWA security is set to low. I'm just going to put it to medium and see if that makes it easier. Nope. Yeah, right. I don't know about that. Let's see.
Oh, that has reflected cross-site script. That means you're changing the parameter when you give it to somebody else.
But regardless of the URL that you pass them, it should still, you should be able to pass somebody a URL that will. Maybe because it does automatic URL encoding. Yeah, I don't know. All right, let's try this one. This is awesome. PHP ID is currently security level set to low. I already tried a simple tag. Down here?
No, I don't mean like a single HTML tag. Just do like a single character, like an open character.
Yeah, like that. It's still escaping. What's up, man? I got the receipt right here, man. Jack, do you have the rest of the receipts? I have this one. Okay, I have the itemized. Yeah.
I had both of them on, right?
Okay. It's just supposed to work? Well, that makes me feel better. Okay, so I mean, we only have 5 minutes left. So I'm going to go ahead and call this here, and we'll call it a failed experiment for now. But so is all that stuff supposed to work if you have like it set to low?
Yeah. It looks like it's not supposed to be vulnerable online.
Okay. Well, then I guess it was automatically set to high. Okay. Well, so that was a good demonstration of a pretty secure application. Hope you guys enjoyed that. That's the equivalent of trying to hack into a modern, completely patched Linux box. That's the sort of frustration that you get to see. No, but so in general though, what do you guys think about the sort of format? I mean, because this is, do you like it? Yeah. Good. Okay. Yeah. This is again. Yeah. I'm glad it's entertaining at least. Let's try to make it entertaining. This is sort of the format that I'd like to pursue this semester, because while we learned a lot, we saw a lot of companies come in and learned a bit about the industry and learned a bit about theory. One of the main complaints that we had was that people were having a hard time applying the theory. And I think if we do this on a regular basis, I think this will be a good way to sort of learn the actual approach that you have to develop. For future meetings where we're going to do something like this, we will make sure to have the image we're going to be hitting. We will announce it ahead of time. So if you want to come in here with your laptop, set up what we're doing on the screen on your own local machine and follow along and try to break it as you go, or as we go, and talk about it. I think that'd be a good idea, so we'll do that in the future. Otherwise, next week we do not have, it's going to be one of the other admins talking about one of the tools that was demonstrated last week, more in depth. We have not chosen who as of yet, so stay tuned. Otherwise, yesterday was our first lab, and so that you guys know, it was break. We still had 3 people come by, and I hope that you guys learned a good bit, those of you that came. It was really cool. I like the format very much. Basically, what's going on is our lab meetings, or our meetings in the lab, are going to be 7:30 p.m. every Monday. Yesterday was sort of open to the public, come in, ask questions, and we tell you answers sort of format. So we're going to have this alternating weeks. One week we're going to have, basically the option is you come in, you have something that you want to learn about, and you just say it, and then we just sit down and start talking about it, and we run through it, and then hopefully by the time you leave you have a better understanding of it. If nobody comes with questions, we'll just have random stuff that we're working on. It's more of just like a hanging out sort of thing, because really hanging out with this group of people will be one of the best ways that you can start learning more about this subject material. And then the other weeks are going to be competition training. So basically we're going to have alternating weeks of, for everybody, come in, talk about whatever you want, and then the next week is going to be, we actually have a directed exercise where we're going to be learning more about breaking into a specific system, or like, for those of you that didn't see Nick's thing that he put together last semester, we had a challenge that took, it took an hour and a half, and basically we had to listen to increasingly obnoxious music. And when I say increasingly obnoxious, I mean like you wanted to evacuate the building. And the entire point was you had to reverse engineer this protocol and replay a packet with your own song to get it to stop playing Rebecca Black's Friday or My Little Pony. Or My Little Pony was, oh my God. I was sitting right next to the speakers, so I was about to rip my hair out. But so that's what's on the table for our lab meetings. Both meetings are open to everybody. Even if you're not somebody that feels all that confident in this field as of yet, if you want to come to the competition training and just follow along with somebody that might know more than you, you're entirely welcome to. Lastly, recruitment, Thursday, 6 p.m., Gray Hat Lab. There won't be any food, but we will have some fun. Maybe we'll go grab something to eat afterwards, but College of Computing won't be paying for it. So if you guys have some spare time to just help spread the word about this organization, that would be great. Otherwise, basically we're trying to have a more proactive recruitment push this semester. So guys, if you can just, if you know somebody or you talk to somebody in class, it seems like they might be interested. You're working on a project with somebody in one of your computer science courses that takes a liking to this sort of stuff, please invite them along. We're always looking for new members. And we're looking to continue to grow this organization. Northrop Grumman is probably coming in at some point this semester. I'm meeting with them next week. So, yeah. And Tim, sorry. Yes. From now on, we are meeting in this room every week, Tuesday, 7:30 p.m., unless otherwise notified. Come get more pizza.